video is about the junior senator from California, Kamala Harris. Last Monday, MLK Day, in fact, she announced she was throwing her hat in the ring to run for president for the Democratic nomination. And naturally, she has received some intense spotlight and attention. There's been some combing through her record, through her time as a senator before that, when she was a prosecutor and for the city of San Francisco, for the state of California as a U.S. attorney. And there's been some legit criticisms thrown at her, and there's been some what I think are pretty at best silly, but maybe really more just insidious and racist. So let's get the insidious and racist out of the way first. First of all, I want to make it clear. Kamala Harris was born in Oakland, California. So she is an American citizen. There is no question about this. Please, if you think there is, read the Constitution. Please read the Constitution. Google it. Bing it. Go to the freaking library. I'm sure there's places you can find pocket versions of it. Read the damn Constitution. She was born in Oakland. That makes her a natural born citizen, which means she's eligible to run for president. We're done here. Why someone would believe the rantings and the idiotic tweets of someone like Jacob Wall, who's the one that got all this started, and basically was just starting birtherism too. Jacob Wall is a troll. He is a little punk, little 21, 22-year-old punk, who's already been banned off Wall Street because he's a freaking crook. So let that sink in, what you have to do on Wall Street to be banned because you're too much of a crook. It's nonsense. Yes, her father is Jamaican. Yes, her mother is Indian. Yes, she lived part of the time in Canada. She was born in Oakland. Oakland is in the United States. It makes her a citizen. We're done talking about this, right? The other thing that's been coming at her one of the other things is a little annoying to me too, is the question of her heritage, the question of what she really is. Is she really African American? She says she's African American, but can she claim it because her mom is Indian and East Indian, and her father is Jamaican, and Jamaicans aren't really African American, even though Jamaicans originated from Africa, but whatever. This to me is just silly. She's an African American. She wants to be an African American. Let her be an African American. I don't even see why we're really even complaining about this. There's so many other things to go after Kamala Harris for, which I'm going to get to. This seems silly and trite, to be honest, because it is. And there's a small but loud contingency of black people that are kind of pushing this, and they really just need to drop it, because they're also making the arguments I'm about to make about her, but the problem is they can't seem to understand is their arguments are completely undermined by the silliness of, is she black enough? I mean, it's the same bullshit that happened with Obama. I'm not even going to go any more into this. I'm going to go to the more substantive, legitimate criticisms of Kamala Harris. The things that should give you pause if you're a progressive, or if you even are an African American, before you start throwing your support behind her. So let me get into them here quickly. Her record pretty much speaks for itself. She lists herself as a progressive prosecutor, but the things she's done are not very progressive. She has a history of going in hard after non-violent drug offenders, petty drug offenders, which mainly have targeted black and brown people. She has a record of demanding long sentences for these people and trying to keep them in prison, in part because those prisoners provide the state of California very cheap labor, if not just free labor, which to me seems a little disgusting. Um, she has pushed hard against legalizing marijuana recreationally, um, which 70% of the country wants to see, or actually, I believe the exact number, that latest number, 62% of the country wants to see weed legalized. So I'm not sure what her thing is there. One of the really more disturbing things for me is the fact that she really cracked down on enforcing truancy laws. And I'm not saying that kids shouldn't be in school and should just be running the streets, but she basically was cracking down on parents and threw some parents, mothers, mainly single mothers, in jail for up to a year because of truant children. That just seems just kind of cold and heartless to me, and doesn't seem very progressive. She supported the three strikes law in California. She has a reputation and a history of trying to keep people in prison even after their convictions or is apparent their convictions should be overturned. There was one person that she went over the top to try to keep incarcerated, even though DNA evidence basically exonerated him. So these are things that are concerning to me, and then when you put all that together, the fact that she did not go after Steve Mnuchin, the current Treasury Secretary of the United States, when he had a direct hand in ripping many disenfranchised and marginalized people off, people of color, back in 08 and 09 when the financial crisis hit. He was one of the people that was at the top of the reasons for that. And even though there were people in her office who wanted to prosecute him and go after him, she didn't. She refused to do it. And then come to find out, Mnuchin had actually donated to her campaign. So, I mean, these are things that are very disturbing. Now, in fairness about this, she did work out a deal between the banks and many of the people who got ripped off by the banks because of the financial crisis. She did work out a deal and a settlement, but again, the fact that you're going to go after some mother because their little punk 15-year-old isn't going to school regularly, and you're going to go after her, but you're not going to go after Steve Mnuchin, who literally stole millions of dollars from middle class and poor people, literally defrauded them. So there is a problem there. A lot of her time in Congress has been mixed. She has definitely has some progressive policy. She's voted for some progressive things, but she's also voted for some very centrist and corporatist things. And one thing, and another thing that's kind of bothersome is that the corporate media, and it seems like the establishment, is really interested in her being the nominee. They are really pushing her, and I know part of this is because look, she's attractive, she's a woman, she's black, and look, the petty side of me would love to see her beat Donald Trump, beat a nominee and beat Donald Trump. I mean, what would be sweeter than seeing that jackass get defeated by a woman, and a black woman at that? But that's the petty side of me. The more substantive side of me, the policy side of me, says she's not the one. She's not. I mean, right now, she, on my list, is most certainly behind Bernie, behind Elizabeth Warren. She's even behind Tulsi Gabbard. Now, in saying that, she's better than what I mean, if it came down to Cory Booker, no problem. I'm I'm with Kamala. Her and Michael Bloomberg, I'm with Kamala. Her and Julian Castro, I'm with Kamala. I mean, of the establishment candidates, she is the best one. But, that's not a high bar. That's not really saying a lot. So, that's my take on Kamala Harris. Her record isn't great. She has a history that's questionable and certainly doesn't seem to be favorable to black and brown people and marginalized people, poor people, all colors. It's a shaky record. So that's it for this video. As always, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment if you like. Visit me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram on the RobBase2110, or at my blog, robbase2110-ezel.blogspot.com. And remember, ignorance is a choice, so be informed, be aware, knowledge is essential, and facts do matter. And for this upcoming presidential election, facts, policy, and record matters. Is all that matters. Everything else is just noise. So until next time, see ya.